All right, so we haven't done a recording for the YouTube channel in quite a while, and I took some questions for 21 questions a couple of weeks ago. Don't know that there's exactly like 21, but I know some people had compound questions, so we're just going to roll with what we got and go from there. So I'm going to I had a few people say they might send something as we go, but we'll see. So for this session, I'm starting out with Andrew Lanier. You sent questions that didn't get included in the last time, so I told you make sure you sent those in. So I'm starting off with you, and so we're going to go in order and just keep going from there. So first question says, do you think social networking ruins relationships? No. In case anybody missed it, relationships have been ruined a long time before we had social networks. I mean, the bottom line is that, if you're doing dirt, you're going to do dirt no matter if it's on a social network or if it's not. I think what ruins relationships when it comes to social networking are relationships that either don't have trust or they don't have respect. Because the bottom line is that if you have those two things, whether you have a social network or whether you don't have a social network, has no impact on the relationship. You know what I mean? Do I think that it makes it easier for people who are unhappy or who need attention or who need validation outside of their relationship to find it? Sure it does. But is it that social network's fault? No, that's that individual and that's that relationship that it comes down to. So no, I don't think that social media ruins relationships. What do you choose, love or money? Easy, all day love. I think that, money can't buy you love. It can buy you a whole lot of other things. It can make life so much easier, I agree. But at the end of the day, it's not about the money. It's just not. I've never been a very superficial person, so I always want, what I think is substance, what really matters in life, and money is not it. I want money for the things that it allows me to do for my children and for my family and the people that I love and that I care about, but money is not the driving force behind anything that I do. So love over money every time. Next question comes from Ash. Ashley says, have you thought about remarrying and another child? I don't know if you mean have I thought about them, like do I want them or am I planning to do them, or has anybody ever asked me would I? Those types of things. So the answer is I don't sit around thinking about, ooh, one day I want to get remarried. At the same time, I don't sit around thinking, oh my God, I never ever want to get remarried. I don't think about either of those two things that way. For me, it's not about whether to get married or whether to not get married. Same thing with another child. Lily, shut up. Y'all have heard my dog bark before, so. The deal with another child is a little bit different because, because my children are older and there are a lot of things to consider. Do I want to start all over again? Would I start all over again? And under what circumstance would I? So a lot of those things goes into both of things. What I will say is that I have the ability to have another child if I choose to. I'm just not at a place that I want, that I would say, oh yes, right now I want a baby. I don't know that. There are too many other factors that come into play with that for me to be able to answer that and say, oh yeah, I want another child. So I don't know if that really just like cohesively or coherently answers what you asked me, but I don't have feelings one way or the other about, oh yes, I want to get remarried. Oh no, I would never ever get remarried. It depends upon the circumstances. And the same thing would apply to another child. It would have to be something very significant to make me want to have another child. So it's a possibility, but doesn't mean that it's what doesn't mean that I'm set against it or for it, if that makes sense. Hold on, this is another person asking a question. Okay. All right, so now next question says, do you feel as if you've gained or received as much in life as you've lost? Well, I mean, I think that as a parent, when it comes to your children, you always feel like you've gained so much from them because they are what they are. I mean, they're your babies. You know what I mean? In terms of, I don't know that I like the word lost, gain versus lost. or good versus bad even. I would say that I don't know the answer. I don't think so. Not yet. I don't think so. Not yet. I think that I think that there's been significantly more trials than there have been blessings. Not to dismiss or belittle the blessings that I've experienced, because they have been there, and I can't complain. I have a good life. Um, but you know, the things that I that I that I've been challenged with in my life are things that are significant in nature. They are things that they're not monetary. You know what I mean? They're the things that to me life is made out of. So I don't really know how to answer that one. I'm blessed. I have two healthy children. I have a good job. I take care of us. You know, but on the other hand, I have a lot of other things that are challenges. So not quite yet. Next question. Do you think that what you never actually gave away can be regained? Do you think that what you never actually gave away can be regained? I don't know that I know how to answer that, because if I never gave it away, I don't know where I'm supposed to get it back from. So I'm lost. I'm lost on that one. I can't really answer it. So I'm sorry. Ask me again and I'll try. but I don't know. I don't know how to answer that one. Let's see. Here's the question that somebody else has had. Okay, I'll put that one in there. All right, so next question. They're coming in. Okay. Sorry, guys. Okay. So the next one says, is there anything you feel you need to be emptied of? Sure. Absolutely. I think we all do, if we're being honest. There are things that I would love to purge and to get rid of. But at the same time, I would want to be able to purge and get rid of them, but not the memory of them or not the lessons from them that I've learned, if that makes sense. So I don't know that it's entirely possible to empty yourself completely of something that you think you need to get rid of and still maintain the effectiveness of what you need to learn from it, so as to not to repeat it or to not bring it back, if that makes sense. So that would be my answer to that. All right. I have a heart so willing and eager to love others, but it's a challenge trying to accept it in return. How can I change this? Because I don't want others to love, but what I don't want others to love, I still can feel and see. How can I change this? Because what I don't want others to love, I still can feel and see. Okay, so I absolutely believe that you can love, and you can have a heart that's eager to love other people and have a hard time accepting it in return. I think, to me, that's the most challenging part of it all. Um, you know, receiving and allowing people to do things where you have to humble yourself or lower your pride, or, you know, kind of sit down and receive help, especially whether it's help, whether it's love, whether it's whatever, goes against some of us, you know, who've had to survive and be strong and to build yourself up and be independent. It goes against our very nature to put ourselves in a position to be receptive of that. And that's something that is not rectified easily. It's something that takes time. And if you're talking about within a relationship, then it becomes even more challenging, because you have to have somebody who is willing to be patient with you and to understand where it comes from and how to work through it. Knowing who this person is, I would say that Yours is more of you want to love and you want to help people and you're willing, but not when it comes to one-on-one relationships, friendships, church, even societal relationships, those types of things. Yes, you one-on-one relationships, you're not so ready and willing to love, not completely, and you're going to have the hardest time in the world putting yourself in a position to be able to receive it just because of where you still are and the things that you're still working through. Next question. Do you ever feel like what should be forbidden fuels you at times? No. No. Because I don't think that there's anything that's forbidden. Hell, I'm grown. Who can forbid me to do anything? And I never see, here's the thing that I have with that. If it's fueling me, if you're fueled because it's forbidden, then you're motivated for the wrong reasons. Right? You should want whatever it is that you're being fueled to do, or you're motivated, or you feel implored to do, should not be based on whether or not it's forbidden or whether it's socially acceptable or society. I don't get that. No, the desire is there, and if it's forbidden or not, then you just have to be able to. You have to be willing to accept the consequences of your choice to be able to do that. But no, being fueled just because it's forbidden, absolutely not. It's just like doing something just for the shock value or just to be able to kind of go against the grain. Never been that girl. If it ends up being against the grain, it's just against the grain, but it's against the grain and it's my truth. And as long as it's my truth, that's what fuels me, not because of how anybody else perceives it or whether they think it's okay or not okay. So that's just kind of my personal opinion. All right, I want to make sure I didn't miss anything over there. Next question. Do you believe that your spiritual or God-given assignment is the same as your passion? I believe that they are oftentimes the same things. They oftentimes are connected, so to speak, right? So, your passion, see, when you say God-given assignment, like God gives us multiple assignments. We all have tasks, we all have purpose, we all have things that we've been blessed with and talents that we've been given and roles to play. But I think your passion is the thing that He equips you with to make that happen. So, if you're supposed to have some sort of ministry doesn't automatically mean that you're going to be a preacher. It doesn't mean that you're going to be a theologian or a prophetess or any of that stuff. Whatever it is that He has, whatever it is that your assignment is, whatever role you're supposed to play in this life, I think and your passion is what He equips you. It's the gifting that He gives for you to be able to make that happen, if that makes sense. So, so that's what I would say. The next question. This is from Thunda, and she says, how does a lady like myself approach a high-profile individual without coming off as an average groupie, but get him to recognize me, pound real? Okay, so I have a little personal experience in this area. I think that real recognizes real. And number one, if this individual thinks that of you, then one of two things is going on. Either that individual is not real, right? Or there's something about you that just doesn't click, because when you are who you are, then that's what people see. But I think that it also depends upon how you carry yourself and what you're saying and the way that you're approaching and what is it that drew you to them in the first place. So, like for me, the way that it happened was I met the individual knowing what they did, and that's what made me uninterested. And it was only after conversation and interaction and communication that I thought, I like that. The high profile stuff I can stand and still have problems with it. But being real is the key. But you've got to be around somebody that that is real themselves. And a lot of times high profile people aren't. So I think it depends upon who that person is. And I think you got to understand that if they perceive you as an average anything, much less an average groupie, maybe they're not the person you should want to talk to anyway. Just saying. Next one is from Andrew. It says, when you're single, how do you turn down someone you're not feeling? Well, I don't know. I was accused of walking around with like "fuck you" stamped on my forehead for a long time. Like people just said I just looked mean, so nobody approached me. I think you do it respectfully, and I think it depends upon why, what the circumstances are. You know what I mean? For me, for a very long time, I knew I didn't want anything serious. I knew I didn't want anything significant. I wasn't willing to emotionally engage, and I knew that. So if someone approached me, or if somebody, you know, paid me a compliment or asked me out or whatever, and I knew that it was somebody that had a legitimate interest in me, my response was always, I appreciate the compliment, you know what I mean? Thank you for whatever it was they said. But, you know, I'm just at a place in my life right now where, you know, I'm not dating and I'm not looking, and, you know, it doesn't really have anything to do with you. I'm just, you know, I'm just not there in my place. You know what I mean? And that's what I did. People got it, I hope. And, you know, now if you are dating and someone's approaching you that you're just not interested in, I think the best thing is to be honest, but to be tactful about it. You know what I mean? I mean, because the thing is just because somebody is not for you doesn't mean they're not for anybody else. You know what I mean? So you just appreciate them. And you sincerely should be appreciative that somebody was interested in you, especially in this day and time, no matter who you are. But you know, you respectfully decline. That's it. You know what I mean? Just at this place where I'm at right now, it's just not the best thing. You can say you're busy all day long, but you can say you're busy and it's still not no. So it depends. Do you want to keep asking or not? Because they might keep asking if you just give them the whole busy thing. So let me make sure this is not another question coming in. Sorry. Just want to be sure. Okay, we're good. All right, so what is the longest you've gone without sex? I don't know. I don't mark it on a calendar, so I don't know. I mean, let's see. I mean, I was married for a really, really long time, so there was no need to go without sex. But when I was single, I don't know, 4 or 5 months or so, that I'm just thinking right off the top of my head. I'm trying to think. Like I really, really am trying to think. Hmm. Hmm. Maybe 6 months since, maybe 6 months or so. I don't know. I don't keep track like that. I mean, I can tell you that the person that I'm seeing now, I've only been seeing 9 months, and it's been a little over a year since I've slept with anybody else. So you figure what, it was three months or so before him? I don't know. I don't keep track. I don't know why you're asking. So I don't know. Anonymous. Why do women cheat when they have a great man. Research shows that 19% of women cheat compared to the 22% of men, and that the percentage is up significantly from just a few years ago. I think I think a couple of things are happening in this scenario. Does it surprise me that the percentage of women cheating is up from just a few years ago? Absolutely not. Look at our mindset. I mean, everything, but society and even the media is playing a lot of role in this. You know, the whole act like a lady, think like a man. Why not act like a lady, think like a woman? You know, let's not confuse our vagina. Um, but I think that there's several things that's going on right now. I mean, that has to do with that, just that relationship. But I don't think that women right now have the best understanding of how to still keep their identity, how to still keep their self-worth, their independence, and their strength, and still complement a great mate. I think what's happened is the pendulum, we swung from one side all the way to the other. Like like way back when, 50 years ago, all we knew how to do was to compliment and be submissive and be the helpmeet, and ended up coming out on the short end of the stick a lot of times. And then we've swung all the way from that to over here to where women are just like, shh, I don't need you, bumpy bump, I got it, blah, 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 whatever. And not learning that there are lessons to be learned on both sides of that, and then learning how to implement them with a good balance. But you do have to have a great man, and you have to have a strong man in order to be able to do that, because you all have to be able to kind of balance each other out, and he has to be able to respect your strengths and validate them, and then you have to be able to know when to take a back seat and make him feel like the man that he is. So I think women today who really do want relationships with strong men and good men sometimes cut their noses off to spite their face when it comes to those things. But I think society has a lot to play with that. The media has a lot to play with that. Not that we didn't get pushed in this direction. We did. You know, when the family units began to break down and men began to leave those units, then women began to step into roles that they weren't normally, you know, designed to fulfill. But that in itself has caused a metamorphosis into something that is a much bigger issue now than I think we want it to be, and I think it makes us unhappy when we'd rather be happy. Last one, I do believe. This is anonymous as well, and it's funny because it is similar to one that Sunda asked me earlier by somebody completely different. It says, I want to know how you can genuinely like somebody without being considered a groupie if you just like the person for them, not for what they are to the world. Baby, you just be you. Like, I can tell you, having a little bit of experience in this arena, the person that I'm with knows that I am supportive, knows that I'm rooting for them, knows that I got their back, and I'm understanding and all of that, not because that's what he does, but because he has goals and he has ambitions and he has dreams, and I want to see him fulfill those things. And trust me, those men, y'all hear me when I tell you this, those men know the groupies when they see them. They can spot them a mile away. They know who is there for the money. They know who is there for the position they play. They know who they are already. So if you're genuine, if you're real, and if that's not what you're there for, I promise you, he will know. And a lot of times that's what makes them stay. That's why they choose you over everything else, because they know at the end of the day you're there for them, not for what they do and not for who they are to everybody else. So what I would say to you is simply this: if that's really why you're there, he will know. And if he's worth knowing it, if he's worth it, because a lot of the people that are in those positions, hear me, they want the groupie shit because they're not ready for anything significant. They don't want anything real. But if you find one that's high profile, that's whatever, that has whatever, but is real, who's just as real as you are, real will recognize real. And you won't have to say you're not a groupie. They will know you're not a groupie. I promise. They'll know. Let me just double check real quick, make sure I don't have anything else. Just being thorough, so nobody cusses me out or talks bad about me later. Okay, so I think that's it. I don't know, we had like 15, 16 questions or so. Hopefully I answered them, except for, like, I think the one that I didn't really know what you're asking. and we will start to do this a little bit more regularly. I'm going to go ahead and put this one up, and I've got a couple of pieces that I think I'm going to record tonight, and I appreciate you guys like always, and stay tuned. There's a lot of stuff coming from Dani soon. So go to the website. This is Dani.com. Twitter is at Dani the Poet, D-A-N-I the Poet, and y'all already know me on my Facebook, so take care.